welcome to the Party Dungeon. This is Dungeon Party. As always, I'm your DM, Blake, and here's the cast.
That's us!
It's me and you guys. Cool, we're gonna hop right back into it. Hopefully you saw that recap that Evan did. And you know what's happening, because I'm not gonna say it again. Cool. So, we left off right at the end of your Garg fight. Those fucking Gargs, they deserved it for what they've done to me. I like Gargs. Yeah, so you end the Garg fight. One of them into the distance, and you lose sight of it as it goes towards the kennel. As you're all sort of recovering, Tapper, you hear a familiar voice coming from nowhere, but also simultaneously right next to you. It says, "Do you think they're done? Do you think they're gone?"
Probably.
Oh, sorry, I've used a dust of disappearance on myself. You can't hear, and then you hear, oof, and you see Brandon appear next to the wall after he's punched it. Hello.
Hey.
What the fuck?
What do you mean?
You couldn't have helped at all?
And he points to the thing that fell down. I took one of them out pretty much single-handedly.
He did do that.
Whatever.
More than I did.
I did more than you did.
Whatever. Okay.
Alright. Wallace, Smith.
Isn't it Wallace Smith?
It is.
Wallace
It's an initial. It doesn't matter. Let's go.
Sure. Are we still just gonna... We're not gonna...
What?
Bunch of statues just attacked us. Are we just fine with that?
Dead now. So yes.
Got any idea where they came from?
One did fly away back to the kennel.
So
do I know anything
A little
about
bit. It's a little suspicious.
gargoyle kennels?
No.
Do I know anything?
Gargoyles around here have pretty much just been statues up until now.
This is odd. My guess is that they're made of stone, right? Hear me out. We're looking for the stone somebody.
Oh,
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe they
In
know
fact,
each
They're
other
connected.
because they're both.
They're a stone.
Stones.
Yes,
Yes.
We've
Got
fought
it.
nothing but stones this whole time.
That's valid. Yeah. Good thing
This
my
is a theme. I am
This is
noticing
a
a theme. Variation.
we're noticing. Great. So we're gonna be hyper suspicious of all stones.
You
Oh,
are
We are
everything's made of stone.
We're watching you. Buildings.
Should we head over to the financial district? What's it called again?
Right, we're looking for Wall.
Regibald.
Reginald.
Mr. Wall.
Mr. Wall.
Right.
I completely lost
So I guess we're just gonna leave all this property damage for someone else to deal with.
Not my problem.
No,
Let's
I am
go.
not. Because
Sure.
I have already filled out an incident report.
You're very good at your job. All right.
Leave our names out of that.
Yeah. The
We're
guy was.
already in it, and it's 3 carbon copies, so sorry. Make sure to know that there's 2 line guards here.
She's
How
not.
long does that
She's
last?
not wrong.
How long does what last?
I see 2 lion guards.
Me too.
Brandon goes like, just keeps walking in the direction you guys were walking before.
Can I sort of just look around at what buildings we just destroyed?
Perception check.
One miscreant masquerading as a lion guard.
Lion
You
Knight.
shouldn't speak about yourself that
Just gonna
way.
throw it out
I
there
think
as
you're great.
Lion Knight.
15.
We both just go.
Brandon shivers and keeps walking even faster and stuff.
I keep up with them.
You look
Brandon's
around.
cold.
They look to be sort of like warehousey. These aren't the buildings you were next to weren't shops necessarily. There were doors, but no one seems to be living there or actively there at the moment. It seems to be sort of a warehouse area that you were in.
Warehouse. Alright. Can I try the door?
Yes, they're locked. All of them are locked.
The door to the surrounding building, or to the right.
I thought they had pickpocketing tools. Not pickpocket.
These tools,
Yeah, but I don't.
you would with your background, you would have that.
Yeah.
You just roll a dexterity check
Or a
plus
mage hand.
proficiency bonus.
Because I used it before.
Yeah.
Wait,
I wish I had a master.
Dex check
key
with
at everything in the
proficiency.
city as a lion.
That would be broken.
Where did pull my master key?
It's funny you should mention that.
13.
13.
I don't know that.
It's not
I
locked
have
well.
a symbolic key to the city.
Seeing as you're in a part of the town that is super guarded, and super well kept after. The lock is pretty flimsy, and you kind of pry it off more than anything. You open it up inside. This seems to be a warehouse for like metal beams, sort of large metal beams to be used in sort of higher end construction.
I don't care.
But you do notice in the center of the room, light coming in from this darkened. There's no lights in this room, but there is light coming in through what looks like a circular hole in the ceiling, shining down onto what look to be some scratched out runes in the ground.
Okay, that's weird. I'm gonna go. Hey,
Yeah.
does anyone recognize these runes? I don't, right?
You don't.
Well, maybe I do.
You're not
Maybe
commenting.
I do. Oh, I don't.
Arcana.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby. Okay, that's an 8.
They're definitely magic.
They're magic.
You
That's for
might
sure.
have a spell that would allow you to learn more. I don't know if you have detect magic.
I don't.
And you're like, it's
It's magic.
magic.
It's
It
not-
was magic. It might be magic. I don't know.
I really couldn't tell you.
Alright, thank you for that.
Sure. You're welcome.
Very helpful.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna copy them.
They're scratched out for the most part, so it's
Oh, like I can't really see.
like they have been smudged, and the earth that they were drawn on originally has sort of cracked and crumbled a little bit. So it's hard to tell what they
Do they look really like they were old, or they were recently like actively
recently carved in. Yeah.
Okay, note that, everyone.
Sure.
I'm gonna close the door because I don't like being in here. Okay, let's keep going, shall we?
I wonder if those runes had anything to do with the statues, perhaps coming to life of some sort.
Maybe
A
that's a
security
great
system of some
idea.
sort.
Thank you. Do you mean that?
Yeah,
Cool.
you would make a great detective.
Stop it. Really? You think
Yeah.
so? Okay.
Have you ever thought about going to the academy?
Wait. No, I haven't actually. It's not really my thing, you know,
Oh,
law, but
All right, let's find Mr. Wolf.
okay. I go pretend it, I guess.
Alright, are we just walking now?
Yeah, you keep walking, and you make it. You make it into the Manor District.
Can I have a
finally.
little combo while we're walking?
Yeah.
With Kira. Kira. Hello.
Hi, Wallace.
Hi. I was just noticing that you're very good with that longsword you've got there. And I'm sure they trained you how to use it at the academy and everything. Now that I've sort of got one of my own, I was wondering if maybe sometime you could train me how to use it.
I don't know. He's-
I would love to. You know, combat practice was one of my favorite things at the academy. It was every weekend at 6 a.m., 6 to 12, and then we got one water break in the middle. So we can probably recreate that, and that's probably the best way that you can sort of learn.
That sounds awful, but we'll talk about negotiations later, maybe. But I just wanted to plant the seed that maybe you could show me a few things.
Yeah, that actually would be a great practice for me. So I think that sounds a great idea. I'm gonna pencil you in.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, girl. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Water.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so you make your way into the Manor District. And you're in the Manor District, so I'm gonna play.
All this music that's totally been here the whole time.
There's so much to do. Cool. So it was impressive from a distance. Now that you're like up in it, woo! Oh my god, it's so cool. These houses are huge. They're absurdly large.
What do they even put in there?
Right?
What stuff?
Lots of servants, honestly.
They're all decorated pretty differently, but they all retain a massive and unbearable sense of wealth and showiness. They're all guarded by lion knights. They don't look to be contracting private guards, but rather using the city guards as their own private guards. As you keep going, the two of them that really stand out to you, though they all are different, one of them is made of British iron and steel. It is sort of 3 towers connected by low ceilinged halls. This is Finkelstein, your Duragar friend,
Oh, okay.
Not
Oslo
friends.
Finkelsteins.
That's not friends.
manor.
Previous employer.
The one who gave you a lot of money.
Who's Finkelstein?
Evan in the
Yeah,
closet.
Evan in the closet. In our session
Oh.
0.
Sound guy.
He was Oslo
Evan
Finkelstein.
in the closet.
Evan in the closet. Anyway, the other one that stands out to you takes up an entire city block. It is 5 stories tall with huge towers, and it takes up just an absurd amount of space. It's huge. It's ridiculous. You know this is Regibard Wolf's manor. As you approach, though, you see 2 lion knights that you and Brandon recognize are standing guard. It is Roger and Clive, the ones who bullied you earlier. And as you walk up, they say, "Oh, looks like little goody two-shoes Kira wants to come to Regibard Wolf's home. Too bad he's not taking visitors."
Are you sure? Because Captain Sheena did tell me to come here.
Captain Sheena's not here, is she? And neither's little Benjamin if you do running, crying too.
Hello, Captain Cordelia Brimlad from the Capitol. I'm here to see our
Deception check.
Oh,
the music.
27. 27?
He goes,
Kira here is one of our finest lion knights in the city. I don't know why you wouldn't accept her need for entry immediately.
he goes, "Oh, yes, so sorry." And then
Oh,
the big fat one goes over, and he places his hand through your armor onto your shoulder. "You're an idiot, Roger." And Roger goes, Were you lying to a lion knight?"
Sure.
And Clive just sort of takes a step back and crosses his arms. He says, "You're making the wrong company, Kira."
I keep trying to tell her to stop it, and she won't.
Look, gentlemen, perhaps we don't need to do this here.
"Oh, I think this is where we're going to do it."
Oh, well, I actually have a meeting with our dear friend. My family
You
sent
have
me.
a meeting,
Yes,
yeah?
I pull out my papers.
And he takes it, he goes, "Oh, interesting," and crumples it up and throws it behind him on the
Well,
property.
that's just cruel. Felix, go retrieve those papers.
You bring... Listen, I could have any of you arrested, and you could lose your job. So I'd say, skedaddle on out of here, while you still have the chance.
We're going into
and
the
you...
windows.
As you all sort of...
Roger and Cornelius.
Clive. As you all sort of like stand around, not sure what to do, you hear, "Give me a shot." And you see Brandon sort of just walk up, and he pulls his necklace out of his shirt. Bing! And he flicks it, and you hear sort of like a ring in your ears.
Maybe lying isn't the best mode of action.
It's my entire character.
He goes up and he says, "Excuse me, gentlemen. I'm sorry. Right, he's Irish. We've got a bit of a misunderstanding here. We've been sent to get into this place, and we'd really appreciate it if you let us in. I understand my friends have wronged you in any way, but if only you'd be so kind." And they both just go, "You're right." And they step to the side. And Brendan says, "Friends of mine, come on in." And he walks through.
All of us friendly.
Right,
Nice,
Brendan,
bro.
you're gonna have to tell me all about that necklace.
And they watch you go, and they sort of glare at you a little bit, but you can see in their eyes are sort of hazy. Something's
When we
happening.
get past them, I stick out my tongue.
They don't. As soon as you get inside, like the gates, Brandon goes, "Holy shit! I didn't think that was gonna work."
Brandon, good for you.
Those are the worst kinds of people.
Yeah.
Right, they're real bastards. They were messing with you earlier.
Yeah, did they all treat you like that?
They're the worst of them.
Why did you stay?
Yeah.
It's my job. I signed a contract. I have to stay if I want to be one of the silver beasts, and I will be. And then when I'm one of the silver beasts and they're still a city guard, they're gonna be like, Kira, like, don't you want to help me out? Write me a recommendation. I'm gonna say no, I don't.
Yep.
I don't want to write you a recommendation, and then they're gonna be stuck forever in the kennel.
Understandable.
You seem too good for institutionalized law keeping.
Okay.
That was cool.
Brandon's just shaking himself out. Brandon's like jumping around, like, right.
We've got such cool stuff.
I'm taking in the sights.
Yeah,
What
it's.
do we see?
As you get closer, everything. This building is impossibly large for a single person's residence, and impossibly ornately decorated. Every inch of it is covered in just like beautifully crafted golden, like archways and paintings. It's absurd, especially for you who's lived in the kennel for some time now, to see. You get it, like the absurd wealth difference in this town. This being probably the richest individual in the whole place. Also, the government official tend to go hand in hand in Wurthanc, at least. Not necessarily in all of Carolina, but here in the city of commerce, that's sort of the whole thing. As you get up to the door, it is opened. Well, the doors are huge. They're these huge mahogany doors with iron rivets in them, with like paintings of flowers sort of weaving across them. But then there's also there's like a smaller inlaid door within the door that opens as it comes through. And
It's like a doggy door, but for people.
sort of, yeah. And a small gnomish woman, dressed in sort of a suit, with her dark hair tied back into a tight ponytail, walks out and says, "Hello, my name is Renee. What brings you to Regibald Wool's home on this fine day?"
We have a meeting with him.
She pulls out a book.
We
I'm afraid he does not have any meetings today.
well,
Oh, that's
Thank you so much for coming.
That
You're
is
welcome.
so nice of
Turn-
you.
She turns around and goes back into
Oliver starts to walk out.
Oliver, what do you? Oh,
What?
stop.
Okay.
Oh, like you've got the paper.
Oh, that's right. Can we talk to you again?
The door's closed. Hello, my name...
Can I please speak to him?
Oh, yes, you can speak to him. I'll go upstairs and tell him that a Seleucian noble has come to pay a visit. I'm sure he would like to know that. Thank you so much for coming to visit us
Thank
today.
you.
She walks back inside the door.
Oh.
Well, come inside, actually.
Oh.
She brings you inside, and you go into a beautiful giant foyer with like chaise lounges everywhere. There's like
Love a good
food set up and a
chaise
fountain inside.
This is a lovely foyer.
Thank you very much. Regibald does a lot of good work to keep this place as impeccable as he can. I will be right back. And then she exits through a different door. Brandon says, "So, are we talking to this Regibald Wool?"
Well, I assume so, yes.
Him, and we want access
Oh,
to his
I see
archives.
ideas.
Yes.
He has archives.
Oh, he's in the archives. All right.
Like,
I don't know why you're here. I'm just riding a high right now, for real. And he like lays down on one of the chaise lounges, like, "Oh."
out of game. Why are we here?
Yeah.
We're
He
here to
has-
find archives
There's old
on.
city maps
Yeah,
of
on
like
the
when
site.
when the mountain used to be here and like
He probably knows.
stuff.
As well as probably a better idea of what's under the city.
I just didn't take it.
I take a seat as well and wait.
I become not a lion knight.
Can I go over to the fountain and like look at it?
Yeah,
Pull out
it's
the incident
ornate.
report I
It's
wrote about you. After 2 hours, the miscreant has given up disguise.
The fountain is a gilded fountain. Everything's gold in here. Of 2 dolphins, and on top of the dolphins there is a man with a sword standing.
I just think that's so pretty.
It doesn't seem to be an icon of anyone in particular, but
I just love it.
Is-
And I'm watching it.
Are there any like little trinkets around, like a gold little like clock or something?
yeah, there's all sorts of stuff like decorating this place.
I'd like a snag. Or something.
No.
I would like to see him.
Okay, make a sleight of hand check. Make a perception check. or what's your passive perception?
Me? 12.
18.
You don't see it.
I rolled a natty 20.
Alright, you go over to a gold clock and you just sort of... No one seems any the wiser.
That's all. I continue to wait.
At about this point, the doors reopen and you see Renee has returned. She says, Regibard will meet with you now, if you'll follow me.
Oh, wonderful.
And turns around, goes through that
Thank you.
other door.
I follow.
Just you, or do other people come?
May I bring my friends?
That should please him, but if he asks them to leave, they must leave.
Okay.
Good.
That works.
So you follow Renee through a series of winding, ornate corridors that leads to a huge, grand spiral staircase, which you go up 2 stories, go down a bunch more corridors. The amount of wealth in luxury items you see as you walk through this place is just absurd. There's paintings, there's golden figures, there's what look like ancient magic artifacts just all over the place. And eventually, after what feels like 10 minutes of walking through this house, you reach a huge wooden door in one of the walls. And Renee says, knocks on the door and opens it slightly. Gestures for
Thank
that.
you, Renee.
So you follow?
Mhm.
Brandon's at the back, just he's sort of parting his wild hair to the side, just to be like.
Oh yeah, I'm actually doing that as well, putting
Yeah.
my wild hair into here.
You walk in. You walk into what looks to be like an office for this individual. You see papers stacked to the ceiling. This room is a stark contrast to anything you've seen in here so far. It looks like a lot of work actually does get done in here. There's papers everywhere that's not very well decorated. There's a huge desk, big enough for a hill giant, really, sitting in the, not height, but size. But it's got papers stacked all on it. Around the paper, you see an individual who, she leans around, is a man, a human man, probably in his late 30s, early 40s. He has dark skin, long black hair, and a pointy black goatee. Sort of goatee situation. It looks nice. Yes, I was told a noble from Salos would
Yes.
be coming here today. Is
Yes.
that you?
Hello, yes, Oliver Dumont.
Oliver
Pleasure,
Dumont.
sir.
Yes, your father. He's what does he do?
Wine, cheeses.
Wine and cheese. One of the best. I think and he reaches down below. He's like, yes, actually,
Lord
I have
Maximilian.
I have one of your family's wines here.
It's delicious, isn't it?
I'm a very busy man, Oliver. So what can I do for you?
Well, listen, actually, my friends in here, my friends and I actually got into a bit of a scuffle a couple of days ago,
Oh.
and we were wondering if you could assist us.
Give me their names. I'll have them killed by the end of the day.
Well, it's not people. See, it's we'd like access to your archives.
Oh. Yes, you don't even need to talk to me to get those. Talk to Renee, she'll take you there. If that's all, then please let me get back to work.
Well, I do believe that's all.
Do you know anything about the Fae?
Money's my business, not this nonsensical mumbo jumbo of things from other dimensions.
In the archives, we could find layouts of the city, records going.
To be frank, the only reason I have the archives as my home is so I can make it as big as it is. So I don't care what's down there. I haven't been down there in my entire tenure as the Master of Commerce, and I couldn't tell you what's down there. I have a couple staff, I believe, who work down there who will be better resources for you than I would. If you don't mind, please go there soon. I've got a lot to get done. And he pours himself a glass of wine, sort of
Now you
raises
enjoy
it to
that.
you
Yep.
and drinks it. It's damn good stuff. Tell your father I say hello.
Oh, I will. Have a lovely day.
Then he sort of beckons you out.
Thank you, Reggie.
Is she out there waiting for us?
Yeah, Renee's still outside.
Renee!
Yes.
We
Hello.
actually need some help of yours. Could you direct us to the archives, please?
Oh, yes, of course. This way.
Thank
And she
you.
just walks you through. It's like another 10 minutes to lead you back to the place you started, and then a door in that room leads to a staircase down to the archives.
As we walk back, I lean over and go, Dumont.
What?
Dumont.
Dumont.
Sorry, I just thought I would.
No. That's,
It's so cool you have a last name because I also have a last name.
yeah, I don't really like to use it much. So, by the way, if anybody asks, don't tell them about that. The last name.
About what?
The right there it is, Wallace.
I got it. I
All
got
right.
you. Dumont, huh?
No,
Yeah.
just Oliver.
Alright.
Okay.
Oliver Dumont. Great name.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I didn't know your family made alcohol.
Yes, they make wine.
Well, you said cheese, but my parents actually have a cheese shop. That is so fun.
Really?
Yeah.
So you grew up around like the cows and the goats and everything.
Yeah.
Cool. Me too. That's fun.
Yeah.
He says this while he like makes sure like his whole like fancy attire is sort of looking good.
That's fun. Anyways, to the archives.
She opens the door. Right down these stairs, have the most wonderful of times.
Thank you.
Our new head librarian will assist you at the archives. She is lovely. Head on downstairs. Have a nice day.
What's her name?
I'm afraid I don't know. I didn't hire her.
Okay.
We've never met yet, but she seems very, very nice. She's a very nice young girl, a tiefling. She came here not too long ago, but she has risen in the ranks of the brightest minds, magical minds that Wurthanc has to offer, and we are proud to give her this job.
When did you hire her?
I want to say, well, she'd been doing on and off work here for quite some time, but we hired her as the head librarian about a month ago.
Okay, let's go.
Well, have a great time.
Great, thank you.
You walk downstairs, and as you walk downstairs, you open up into a massive, massive room. It's just absurd how big this place is. It seems to stretch on outwards and downwards for probably miles. It is built into below the city, below like the ground level, so they sort of could spread out wherever they wanted to. And it's lit with these blue magical sconces placed around in this area. So it's got this sort of blue haze to it, but it's just books and scrolls and tomes and paper as far as the eye can see. And as you go inside, you head up to a main desk. There is an individual sort of writing something down. You hear a voice, a familiar voice. It says, "One moment, I'll be right with you."
That's okay.
The figure straightens up and turns around. It is a red tiefling woman with long brown hair that is held back behind her horns that stick straight up. She has glasses sort of set askew on her nose, connected with those little like librarian beads like back around.
Mm-hmm.
And she's dressed in a very like formal librarian gown robe situation. And she turns around and makes eye contact with you and says, "Oliver,
I didn't know you started working here.
I didn't know you still lived in Wurthanc."
Listen, could you help us with something, please?
That's my job.
We're looking for the archives.
We're in
Well,
the archives.
you're in the archives,
We're
Oliver.
looking for. What are we looking for,
Old
Tapper?
city
Old
maps.
city maps. Thank you.
References on the Fae, perhaps?
Oh, those are two separate things. Let me look real quick. I'll send you in the right direction. And she turns around, but she like sort of scans all of you and like gives a worried glance at you, and then looks down to her books.
I'm gonna lean over. How many people?
Stop it.
I'm gonna lean over to Oliver, just in his ear. Wait, how tall are you?
6'1".
I'm gonna stand on my tiptoes. How many people in this town have you slept with?
A lot.
Alright.
She like
She's not-
turns and looks at that
She's actually not.
and rolls her eyes and turns around again.
She's more of an X. Yeah, like the X.
I'm gonna say in Elvish. Not bad.
Thank you.
She turns around and says in Elvish, this is where you're going to want to go.
Yep.
You'll head to the southeast sector." She switches over to common.
Librarian.
Head over to the southeast sector if you're looking for city records. If you go one story above that, that could be where you find information on Fae. And if you need anything else, come talk to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Listen, what is your name?
We didn't come up with a name. That's I haven't said
I'm Moira.
What?
Moira Hearthscale. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Moira. I'm sorry about my friends. They're a little rude. I just wanted to say thank you for your service. You deserve to be treated better than that. And you're beautiful, also. And I like your glasses. I like how they're connected there. And I think
Are you-
that
Thank you, Wallace.
Are you hitting her?
no, absolutely not.
Yeah, come
I
on,
just
even
wanna
I didn't
say-
go that far.
I just
Can
wanted
we
to say,
just go do the thing that we were supposed
you
to?
all can run along. I just wanted to say
Wallace,
that I
Wallace,
think
come on. I'm just gonna.
Thank you.
We're just going.
I'm actually gonna linger back.
She turns to you and says, "Will you need a moment of your time, Oliver?"
Of course, I was gonna ask for a moment of yours.
Perfect.
Are you okay?
I am doing very well for myself.
Good.
I have a great job.
Well,
I live in the fiscal plazas, and
Wow.
I don't run around with criminals.
Well, I'm doing well too, so that's good. That both of us are doing very well.
I'm worried about you, Oliver.
Why are you worried about me?
Last time we spoke, you were going to go on a job for Irina Dusk.
She gave me coin. I made money. That's what we used to do.
I make money as well. Probably more money, but I'm
As
not
a
risking my life.
librarian, that's not fun.
What, and running around with a brothel keeper is?
Yes.
You changed, Oliver. I don't know when. You did.
Look, I'm sorry about what happened, but I'm happy for you.
I can't say I'm happy for you, but I hope you don't die. I hope you find what you're looking for. And she turns around and goes back to her books.
I might go back to the group.
Cool. So are you going to look for maps or for the Fae stuff?
City records.
I can go for Faye. I speak and read Sylvan.
I speak Sylvan as well. Perhaps we could do that.
I think
City
pictures
records?
might be more my
pictures,
alley.
yeah. I
So
like
three
that.
of
I'll go
maps.
with you guys.
Yeah, great.
A
Okay.
crew and B crew. Intelligence.
So make a. The three of you decide who wants to make the investigation check, and the two of you decide who wants to make the investigation check. Whoever does it gets it at advantage because your friends are helping you.
And protection, are you
Anybody
proficient?
have any?
Plus 0.
I have a
Plus
plus
0.
Okay, I'll make
Plus
it.
You get advantage.
Advantage? Great. It's 11,
I'm in.
and it's
Advantage.
6. No. It's gonna be a hot 12.
23.
A
I'm
group and B group.
I'm smart.
Okay,
Reading.
Oh,
so
I did.
as you guys look around, you're having some trouble finding maps of any kind, but you do find a lot of like financial records. And as you look through them, they're definitely fraudulent. Everyone here is embezzling. It's absurd. Not surprising, but you know,
Is it like basic math is wrong?
yeah, it's like no one's even trying to cover it up.
Is the fantasy Dewey Decimal System at play here? Do we follow
It's
anything?
sort of
Is there
organized.
fancy
It's organized like thematically, but and this comes to the, as you two are looking, you find something that is out of place. An old leather tome with a like a cord wrapped around it, pretty tight. And if you open it up, you open and you see what looks to be a bunch of spell pages. This is a spell book that you have found in here.
Oliver.
I have a spell book. Do you want to look at it?
Sure.
It doesn't mean it doesn't make a lick of sense to you. It's a bunch of runes.
So I was actually looking for that one for a while, and then if you use that and that one,
You know, I write in a code that looks like this, but I can understand that. But I'm sure it's great.
yes, it is. Thank you.
You also
Can I ask a question really again? How long does it take me to copy these into my?
depends on the spell level.
Cool.
It's a certain amount of hours. If you look up wizard, it's in there. When we get to somebody else, you can look it up in there. It's not a wizard. It's also costs a certain amount of gold, but regardless. While he's looking through it, you do manage to find a tome detailing the living habits of Fae. Brandon is with you guys. He went with you guys just to split the party well. He's like, and as you're looking through, he's like, it's called a Korid. Is what we're looking for. You find an entry on them. They live deep within the earth, and they like to build large columned halls for themselves, with plenty of places to hide, flee, and trick from. They tend to surround themselves with earthen companions, and Corinth themselves, if they are touching the earth, become empowered with the power of the earth itself. There's a guide on how to catch a Kored in there, and its advice is to suspend it in the air in some way because it loses its power, and make sure none of its hair is around it. Those are the biggest things. It seems like people used to try to go after Kored for their hair, but then they, sort of went. They're not common. So whenever they're around, people tend to try to hunt them down and get them to cut off their hair with gold shears or anything. Yeah. You guys, you don't really find much of anything with those checks.
Can we go back to the front desk and ask?
Yeah, you can. Who's going to the front desk?
I'll go.
All
of us?
You're also going.
We'll all go. We'll all go.
The three of you go. Cool. So you go back up and do this. Hello.
Hi, we need a little help.
All right. I haven't seen you here before. You've never been assigned to guard down here.
No, they don't do that.
Oh.
Well,
All right. And she looks over at you and doesn't make eye contact and sort of looks away.
I wasn't hitting on you. I just.
I wasn't saying that you were.
we just
you
okay.
did.
Sorry,
Whatever.
Oliver.
Trying to be friendly.
Okay.
Great,
So I know that you guys have sort of a color pass, and now you have a color pass, and I just really just need to find a map.
What sort of map are you
Of
looking for
the city.
specifically?
The oldest one you've got,
Yeah.
preferably.
Underground too. Anything about the under?
Oh, I could. Yeah. That narrows it down a lot. Follow me. And she walks you back to the same section, and next to the book that you found previously.
You know,
she
I
pulls
was looking
something
at
out.
that one. I had my eyes on that one. I thought.
Great. And she opens it and flips through, and she says, "All right. Well, here is sort of a geographical map of the city from a long time ago, when it was first established." And she flips to the next page, and you can see that 2 pages are ripped out. Unfortunately, the actual details of the underground were taken from us in a bit of a raid, I guess I should say. It seems that one of the gangs of the kennel made their way in here, and they seem to think that they have a monopoly on the underground
Do you know
of Wurthanc.
which gang?
It was 5 years ago. You'd have better luck asking Renee. I've only been working here for about a month. But I hope this helps.
Yeah. Thank you.
And she hands you the book and leaves. As you look at it, you can see that there are 2 areas that connect to the underground. They connect to the underground easily and efficiently. You don't know how they connect to the underground. You don't know what's underground when they connect. But they're both in the kennel. One of them's in the kennel, and one of them is in the Gilded Plaza, that main square in this town. And that's about all the info you can get.
Okay. Maybe do you guys want to go ask Renee? Or should we go find the other 2?
Might as well talk to Renee on the way out.
Cool. You guys at this point have found probably all the information you're gonna find.
That was easy.
Yeah, that was really fast.
I mean, it's been a couple hours, I will
Okay,
say.
okay.
A lot of time has passed that you've been down here.
Yeah, it's been such a long time since we've been in the library. This is great.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
I like books
This
a
is
lot.
my first time in a library.
Cool.
You didn't have to do it for the academy.
It's mostly sort of read this book about the rules and go learn how to fight. Stuff.
Yeah, we didn't read books where I came from. We learned things from things, you know?
Yeah. The old-fashioned
The old-fashioned way.
The old-fashioned way.
Learn things from
From
things.
What?
I'm not hearing the sarcasm. I assume that he's talking about. Tapper assumes he's made some point.
Yeah, I wasn't very good at school. roll.
Cool. So at this point, it's been probably hour and 45 minutes that you guys have been here. You all sort of meet up again and share information with each other. What's your next course of action?
Renee.
Renee.
Cool.
Sure.
Sure.
So as you start going up the stairs, you notice somebody talking to Moira. It is a human man in a blue trench coat with a blue tricorner hat in his hand.
I'm walking
And
over.
he's talking to Moira, but he's looking at you guys as you walk out.
Oh,
Wasn't that the guy
it's
from
the
the?
guy from the thing.
Is he
What was he
part
doing
of the
That's the question.
the,
isn't
the, the desk, her thing?
it? Of the what?
Irina, her gang.
But I don't know. I haven't seen
Yeah.
him before. Should we go, or one of us should go speak to him?
They should.
Probably,
Okay.
probably
Okay.
not.
Okay.
His feathers were red and yellow.
Red and yellow.
I'm gonna eavesdrop. Okay.
Yes.
Drop some eaves.
Drop
Yeah.
the leaves.
So you're trying to like stealthily get up there and listen to what they're talking about?
Listen. What I'm gonna do.
Okay.
It's dumb.
I'm glad you know that going in.
Okay. So, we're all gonna walk up the stairs.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
No. First, okay. Okay.
Just say it.
What? No, I've got to think it through. I'm not okay. Has the guy seen us?
Yeah.
He watched you guys walk out.
Okay. Fine. I'm gonna take off my hat. I'm gonna pull out a mouse.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
put
true.
my hat back. I'm gonna leave the mouse. No, just leave the mouse behind us as we're walking up the stairs. He sees us leave, right?
Yeah.
Did he see me do that with the mouse?
No, you're already in the stairs.
Okay. So once we're through the stairs, I'm gonna cast Beast Sense
Through that mouse.
through that mouse.
Okay.
And I'm gonna listen.
So the mouse sort of scampers down into the archives. You did see a couple other mice in here, like it's not uncommon. It sort of scampers down, this little white mouse with a little black dot on its head. Scampers down into the area. And as you're listening, you catch a snippet of a conversation that says, you hear a gruff sort of male voice saying, "If you have any information about the exes sortilegium, where'd I go to get that?" And you hear Moira respond, "Oh, if you go to the northeast." And at that point, the mouse has scampered past them down into the area. You overhear a conversation of two younger, like teenage people. One of them being like, "I hear if you go into the very back of the archives at night, there's a ghost. It'll haunt you, and you'll just see all sorts of crazy shit." Jeremy, you're a fucking idiot. Why would you listen to these people? And then they keeps going. You can keep beast sensing, but you're probably not going to get any more relevant information.
Alright, I'm gonna come back into my body. Alright, well, if you go into the back of the archives at night, there's a ghost.
Oh my god. Ghost?
It'll haunt you. But also, that guy was looking for information on the exit sortilegium. For whatever reason. I don't know. That wasn't an effective plan. But anyway.
Do you think it's worth going to talk to him physically in person?
Maybe we could wait for him to
It
come
looks a
out.
little scary, I don't know.
Yeah, but there's 6 of us in one hand.
But he's got a...
I don't like
a
using
scar.
intimidation to get people to help us.
No, but we can talk to him, and if things get bad, we have
I'm
to.
not looking for him to help us. I just want to know why he's following us.
Maybe he's just interested in the same stuff that we're interested in. And it's just about pure coincidence, and it doesn't mean
That's the
anything.
thing.
Then maybe we
If
can
you
work
see
together.
a stranger twice, it either means they're following you or they're after the same thing as you.
Look, if he is following us, we'll have another chance at this.
That's
You
also
trust.
true.
No, I say teetering.
Alright.
It's like 3 p.m.
Here's a question: are we gonna have to walk out the front door past your friends?
Oh, I can take care of that. Brandon says, sort of piping up for the first time in a couple hours.
Hey, Brandon,
Brandon, you did the
what
work.
did you think about the fact that he's looking for people from the extensor Legion?
Well, I've got a friend from the exes Legion. I can ask him if he recognizes that individual. I don't know where Averth is right now, but if we run into him again,
I'll text him.
We could go to another post office. That's where we found him last time.
I don't think he really frequents
Oh, post
post offices.
Well,
I think he was just
100% of
looking
the
for
times that
me.
we visited a post office looking for him, he was at a post office. So.
How many times
Well, I
did you do
suppose
that?
we could go to a post office.
I have to send a letter anyway.
Also, we have to talk to Renee. That's why we went
I-
upstairs.
Yeah, you guys are just standing in the stairs right now, like a little scholarly guys, like a librarian guys, like
Hello,
excuse me.
sorry.
It's like a full 3-minute affair of him trying to get past you.
I could also
Dude, I
send.
accidentally do the go the wrong way every time.
I'm just. I work here.
I could send Felix in there.
Oh, that would have been a better idea.
hang on.
Well, it was a bird. I didn't think it was.
Right, a mouse in a library is one
Right,
thing.
right.
Birds
Birds.
and that.
Tell her to stay up. She's good at that.
The owl.
Yeah.
Do you think he has anything to do with the owl?
Oh, yeah, very possibly, probably.
Well,
What
Cinder.
owl?
Cinder.
Oh, Felix was hanging out with an owl a little earlier, but it was really cute. They were
No,
like
they were
friends.
staring each
No,
other
they were being
down.
friendly.
Before he leaves, Cinder.
Go!
Into the archives?
Into the archives, Felix. Into the archives.
Alright, well, I'm changing the music.
She gotta stay up though. She knows.
She's a bird. She
How
can do
high
that
up can
real
you
good.
go indoors?
It was
Be-
like 3
be-
stories.
Be
of-
quiet, Felix.
Fly silently indoors.
Yeah, didn't you know that when birds go inside, they suddenly become, for some reason, so much louder? When
She
they
just runs into the
flap,
glass.
it's just so loud, but outside
There's no
it's
soaring
quiet.
room indoors. You'd have to keep flapping.
This is
Felix
the
is a
biggest
crow.
place
She's
ever.
A raven. That's a
This
big
is-
She's a
bird.
little
That's
smarter.
a big bird.
No,
How do you keep that on your shoulder?
I'm straw.
She just fucking swoops down these stairs. You hear the librarian who just walked past. You go, "Oh no!"
Felix, be quiet.
And you hear the room just sort of erupt into noise.
Shit. Okay, we're going. Let's just.
You can make her disappear by snapping your fingers, or you
No.
can let her just fly
I'm
around for a while.
chaotic goods. No.
And then you see Renee open the door and says, "What's going on down there?"
A
Nothing.
bird going in.
Oh, bird! And she just sort of runs down and then
Why
reaches
are
you
you
and says, I have to get the bird. I have to get the bird. I have to get.
Like,
Please.
what?
Good work.
You hear Moira yell, "Oliver!"
What?
And you see her. She stomps up the stairs. She says, "Why would you release your bird into my library?"
Maura, who's that man that you're talking to?
I don't know. He's a patron of the
Well,
archives.
He's been following us. We've seen him twice.
You're paranoid, and
Once
you've always been paranoid, Oliver.
I'm not paranoid.
Renee, will you escort these people from the premises, please? And
Maura-
Renee says, "Yes, I will," and then just sort of grabs you by the shoulders and starts trying to
No,
pull you,
wait.
but she has no strength. She can't reach your fucking shoulders. She's got kneecaps.
Very big. I'm a lot bigger than you.
Wait, Renee? Renee?
What's up?
Do you know anything about
Tickles.
a kennel gang that stole from the archives about a
5 years ago, yeah, that was the groomers. Yeah.
the rumors? Do you know what they took?
They took some maps. I don't know. And Moira says, "Please leave. You all need to leave right now.
Time to go.
I'm so sorry, Moira.
Thank
Okay,
you,
we'll be
Renee.
later.
Please leave.
Okay.
I'm sorry as well.
I don't care, Oliver. Please get out of my place of
Thank
work."
you, Renee. Thank you, Moira. It was so nice to meet you.
Nice
And Renee says, "Nice to meet you as well." And Moira goes, "Renee." And she walks back down to
It's
her
nice to
desk.
see you again.
She turns around and doesn't
Yeah,
say
me
anything
too.
else to you.
Bye. Bye.
Well,
Renee sort of waves as you walk out.
Really?
I say to Felix, well, I thought you were good.
That's what birds do. I don't know.
She doesn't love other people, but you can try.
She sort of pecks a little bit, and then looks at you and
That's
sort
okay.
of shuffles backwards.
Okay, I'm sorry. She's not really
No,
personal.
it's okay. Living things won't like me.
And Brandon says, "What the fuck?"
Jesus.
That's cool.
Hang
You should
out
work
with
on that.
zombies?
Oh,
Karen, you a
let's go.
necromancer?
What?
You a motherfucking necromancer?
Yeah, that's stupid.
I'm gonna clasp my hand on Oliver's shoulder. I'm sorry about your ex, mate. Not the shoulder the birds on.
Yeah,
I
figured.
I'm sorry about your ex, mate. That's gonna be tough.
Oh, it's fine. It's just, it's always been.
I'm not drunk.
Are you drunk?
No,
He's drunk.
I think you're
I'm
drunk.
not drunk.
Should we
When
go?
did you get drunk?
I didn't. I really didn't.
He immediately snaps out his drunkenness.
And then like slink back in immediately.
You are amazing at that. It's really a skill.
It's the way it's what I've learned. When you're surrounded by drunks constantly, you learn how to.
You learn
Drunk
things from
constantly.
things. I
You learn things.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
you
old-fashioned
learn
way.
things from things.
What's the old-fashioned way?
You learn things from things.
So you learn things from books. I learn things from things. Yes.
Oh, that makes sense.
Books are things.
Oh, it's too complicated.
Anyway,
Books are things.
We go.
Alright, you head outside, and Brandon's sort of like, alright, let me at him. And he
Do it,
starts
Brandon.
walking out, and he says, hold up right here, I'll see what I can do. And he sort of goes out and he says, gentlemen! There's some muffled conversation, and then Brandon like, and you walk through, and the two of them turn to you and Kara and say, hey, we're sorry about the way we treated you earlier. That was really rude of us, and we shouldn't have done that.
Thank you for apologizing. I really appreciate that.
You know, frankly, we're just a little bit jealous because Captain Sheena likes you more than she likes us. You're better at your job than we are, and Benjamin, you're probably gonna get hired next after your boyfriend Benjamin. So
The entire group.
You know, if you just worked harder at your job, then I'm sure you could get hired too.
and then
And
Clive says, "I don't mind you. I think I'm pretty good." Brandon says, "All right, time to go. Nice meeting you. Nice talking to you. Let's go. All right."
You got a boyfriend?
no, I have
Who's
no.
the
Oh, you're
boy?
doing this.
She
to me.
turns as red as Moira was.
I
Like,
understand I'm like elbowing plate armor.
yeah. Clank, clank, clank.
His name's Benjamin, huh?
See,
Well,
see,
it's-
neighbor Benny.
Can we stop this?
Come on, we're all friends here.
Are
We met like a day ago.
we?
Anyways, here's Benny.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright, let's go.
Cool. So at this point, you've gone outside. It's like 3 in the afternoon. It is a sweltering summer day.
Oh God.
You're fucking hot as shit with your fur. You're feeling pretty hot as well.
Why did they give us?
I'm carrying my.
I've taken my shirt off.
You're also like you're less hot than any of them because you were like self-regulating
I
your
haven't
heat.
taken my shirt off because of the heat.
You just took it off. I mean, Wallace is pretty. Wallace ain't.
Wow.
Wallace ain't
I thought
bad.
it was just the booty. I didn't know it was the
No.
rest of it.
No,
He's
it's
got a
like
magnificent bod.
yeah. Wallace is pretty well built.
Just not strong.
No.
Just,
Yeah, no, it's like for show. All of the muscle
It's
is for
all
show. Like
Wow.
Wallace goes to the gym but doesn't train any like crucial muscle groups. Just makes sure that
Just
that
the
he has
ones that are
definition.
visible.
Low weight, high
Yeah.
rep.
Yeah. Wallace has skipped leg day every day for his entire life.
Except
But never
not butt
butt
day.
Not butt day, always,
many
always
squats.
butt day. Many squats.
So many spots.
As you walk past, like you do see some like of the finer ladies of the Fiscal Plazas, like sort of give you a look as they walk past, like fucking Peter Parker. Cool. So what's the plan?
Well, you see, we have to figure out who these groomers are.
This
Do I
is
know
a
anything about
horrible
them?
day.
We met
It's
the
a really,
groomers.
it's a truly
It's
terrible.
been a really bad.
Are the groomers the same one?
Nope, the groomers is the other one.
fuck.
You met the leader of the groomers.
Yeah,
You 3.
we met him. We met the groomers.
Yeah.
Rolf.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
We know
like
him.
Right, I know
we
him.
know him.
He actually we made
He's
a
a
little
businessman.
business with him.
According to
we did
him.
a little job. I
You
think.
know him.
If we were gonna talk to him, I think
I don't think you know.
he would see us again.
Do I know anything about the groomers, like reputation-wise?
Yeah, I mean, you know that the Lamplight Manifesto, which is Irina's group. They're.
It's a reference to Streetlight Manifesto.
I said manifesto, didn't I? I was
I've
going to say
I have
manifest.
been dying to know this whole time, but this is just a joke about like the
Streetlight
Streetlight Manifesto.
Yeah, Ska will live forever. That's all I gotta say. But the Lamplight Manifest, they
The
deal.
entire last episode was manifest.
It's the manifesto now, I think.
Maybe. It's the Lamplight Manifest. They sort of deal in like pleasure, in entertainment, whereas, and you know that they have connections. They have connections with the Forked Tongue, which is one of the 3 major thieves guilds of this country. The three thieves guilds, being the Noble Folly, the Forked Tongue, and the other one. They don't have the other one doesn't have sort of they don't have a proxy here because they control the capital of Caerleone, so they're like, we don't need Wurthanc. But the Noble Folly sort of supports the groomers, and they're like sort of your common. They're stealing stuff, they're sabotaging stuff. They sort of own the underground walkways in this city. The Lamplight Manifest. They're extortion pleasure district people. And the last gang, Brutus is Brutes. They just like to beat the fuck out of people.
Are the other ones called the other ones?
Groomers, Lamplight Manifest, and Brutus is Brutes.
The ones in the capital, should
You said the other ones.
No, I just don't remember the name of it. I can
Let's
pull
call
it up.
them the other ones from now
It's
on.
not. It's
Canon,
got a really cool
canon.
name, okay? And there's a lot of fun lore about it too, which
Canon.
you guys will know if you watch the State of the World video that went up last week. I don't know.
So
Cool.
the Regal Folly owns the underground?
No.
Noble.
The Noble Folly doesn't own anything.
Noble
Kira,
Folly
you-
supports the groomers.
You know that the groups have been vying for the Forked Tongue and the Noble Folly have been vying for like control of this town because it's such an important commercial town for Caerleone. The Lion Knights here are specifically trained to root out members of those thieves guilds. So they do the next best thing, and they sort of have a seedbed of people who don't technically work for them, but they're like, hey, if you do a good enough job, you can become a high-ranking member in this town when we take the town over. So between the two of them competing with each other, as well as Brutus's Brutes just sort of fucking with everything, and the Lion Knights making sure no Noble Folly members or Forked Tongue members end up here, they can't establish a foothold. So it's like, yeah, they're sort of proxy gangs.
Okay.
Significantly less organized and significantly less powerful.
So,
Do I know where, like, is there like a groomers hideout?
You don't know it. You don't know of it. You do know of it.
and you know of it, don't you?
The other group is called the Shaded Alley.
Did you worked with the groomers
We
before,
met
yes?
him briefly.
We
We
met
met him
him,
briefly.
and we had a pleasant time with him.
You had a pleasant time after all.
He tried to stop us. There was an exchange of money. We continued on our way.
Right. Listen, I don't think it's a great idea for me to lead the charge in there, but maybe if one of you did, I could linger in the back.
The problem is we sort of the source of the money wasn't
It wasn't that.
us.
But
Well,
you do
well,
see right now Laszlo
His
Finkelstein's
is
house.
right there.
Oh, actually, we could go knocking. I think that's a good idea.
Okay, sure.
All right. I mean, do you want to do this?
No, it's all you do.
Okay.
Keep it consistent.
Cool. So you go up. This house is unguarded, with the exception of there's sort of like a lawn chair out in front of it, and there is an elf, sort of laying in the lawn chair with like a shield who he's suntanning himself with, and he sort of, as you approach, he opens his eyes and says, "Oh, my friends, hello.
Regis, how are you?
Yes, good to see you again, all
Afternoon,
three of you,
Regis.
and two more.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, I am Regis Kelly." The
I'm
manservant
so dumb.
of my master Oslo Finkelstein. How can I help you?
We are actually, we've got to ask a favour. Can we talk to Oslo? Is he around?
Ooh, he is asleep at the moment. He doesn't like to go out during the sun time. His Duragar eyes can't handle it.
That's right.
But I could go wake him as you are friends.
Yeah, get it.
All right. Well, what do you need from him? I should let him know. He's a bit grumpy when he first wakes up.
Business matters.
Could you be more specific?
Ask him about,
Oh, yes, the gentleman from the groomer he has been communicating with.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sure he'll be very interested to hear about it. I'll be right back. And he hands you his suntanning shield. It's a little hot. It's like, and then he goes inside, and you hear him. When he has some security measures I would have to turn off. And just wait out here.
Okay.
Thunk. And you hear, Oslo, Master Finkelstein.
Put it down.
I've been entrusted with a task.
That is not like you.
That's not it.
I changed my armor. Come on.
Now that's a little more like you.
I've been entrusted with a task.
I lay
What
down.
is this?
I lay down on the lawn chair.
It's comfy. It's well made. You actually, as you lay down on the lawn chair, like it sort of shifts to like match your spinal positioning.
Oh.
I changed my armor back to the pale armor.
You're tanning. You're pale, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're Seleucian. You're not that pale.
Okay.
This whole shit you got, it's great. I'm gonna make it one of my aliases. This is great. It's not shit.
You hear, and the door opens. And says, "Oh, come on in, Master Finkelstein. We'll see you soon." And you walk into a
Clank.
like you can't. Your eyes. It's just pitch black in here. Your eyes have to fucking. Eventually, as you you can see that there are like like a hearth burning with low fire in the corner. It's not very nicely decorated in here at all. It's like wooden chairs around a large steel table, and you can see trudging down the stairs, rubbing his eyes wearily, is your Duragar sorcerer friend Oslo Finkelstein.
What is it?
Can you give me a sample of his voice because I forgot it?
Oh man.
It was
Well, yes, and it is time to see you, and I'm Oslo Finkelstein.
What's a Duragar?
Hello, it's good to see you. I'm Oslo Finkelstein. Good for you. I'm talking to the ghost.
Oslo.
Oh yes, my friends, my business partners. I hear that you have something interesting to talk to me about concerning
Yes.
that young man from the groomers.
Actually, we do.
Take a seat.
So, Oslo, here's the thing. We're sort of on a mission.
Ooh, another mission so soon.
Yeah. We've got a little thing going. But there's something that we need to get from the groomers, and we understand they're sort of a rough crew. So we were wondering if you could give us some advice or a blessing or some sort of thing to show them that we're cool.
I could give you more than advice. I could give you this. And he takes a ring off of his finger. My signet ring. Show this to them and they'll know that you've come from me. Although you've met this Rolf the Preener as well yourself, and he doesn't seem to forget the face too easily.
Well, it never hurts. We were in the area.
Of course!
It
No,
never
it's good
hurts.
to see
Can you
you.
drop by our old friend?
Oh, very good. We should go bowling again sometime.
We
Yeah,
should.
bowling again.
We
I love
should go
bowling.
bowling.
I'm afraid I can't today. I have a nap planned for most of the day. But sometime soon, when you finish with this job, come by. We'll go bowling once more. Great fun to be had with my friends. And you new compatriots. Oslo Finkelstein.
Oliver.
Oliver.
Millie.
Millie. All right, good.
It's two half elves.
Two half elves, two and a half.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, is that all?
Did you say half it?
What? No, I'm
I
not.
think so.
Just a half elf and a human. Hanging out here.
Are you a half elf or are you a human?
I'm a half elf. That's
Okay.
embarrassing. Half-elf.
Okay, because I keep thinking
Because you
you're
said
I
human in
know.
the first episode, so I just took it to be as long hair as covering his ears.
Gotcha.
Okay, I think
Anyway,
that's
in case you were
about
wondering.
it from us.
Right, I hope my extra payment I gave you last time has treated you well.
Yes.
Sorry once more for not being able to pay you.
That's okay.
Well,
Have to follow the rules, right?
Why do you keep elbowing me?
clank, 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 clank.
It's like ding.
Yeah, you're almost a little bruised at this point.
Ding.
Well,
I have a nap to attend to, so Regis, see them out. Oh, wait, before I go, I heard that the noodle stand of that old racist Carthian guy burned down. Weird. And he winks and he sort of backs up the stairs.
Alright, I'll slow.
Did you guys burn down that noodle stand?
We did not.
Wait,
No,
we
we
didn't.
didn't.
We
We
didn't.
didn't. No, okay.
I'm another noodle stand! And he runs
Awesome!
And Regis says, well, thank you so much for visiting us. I think the master has retired to his chambers. I must ask you to leave once more. But it is always such a pleasure to see friendly faces.
Thanks, Regis. I forget. I'll do a little.
You just do that, and he's like, oh.
Never change. Alright, let's get out of here.
Are we on our way then to the groomers?
I think we are.
And I know
Do
the
we have
road.
any idea where to find them?
I do.
Alright.
unfortunately.
What a convenient thing.
So
You seem
let's
to know a
go.
lot of criminals.
Yeah, because I'm a criminal. I do jobs for criminals.
Alright, that's news to me.
Wow!
I just put it together.
He learns from things.
From things,
Right,
that's right.
See?
The word criminal's so mean.
Don't worry, your exes was also a criminal, clearly. We saw the books.
Can we go to the groomers,
Yeah.
please?
Um,
Don't talk about that.
Come on. I saw the accounts. She works with criminals all the time.
Yes, she was an ex-criminal
If you guys
herself.
keep talking about this, I will leave.
you can see Kira just like very stressed out, like fighting the urge to write things
So
down.
Kira,
in
report.
tell us about Benny.
Ooh.
Man, come on, we need to know more about Benny.
You're welcome for the subject change.
Are we doing this as we walk?
Yeah.
I figured.
What's he like? He's very nice.
And where is he now?
In the capital.
Oh,
The
good.
capital. Fancy.
Is he cute?
Are you two still together?
Is
He's
it long
blushing
distance?
so hard.
We know, we can see.
Yeah.
We're just friends, okay? It's just not a big deal, and what does that mean?
No.
Just No, I get it. I get it.
It's very warm
Oh, why
today.
do you have a color of
That's
interest
just-
that you want to
Holy
talk about?
shit, is it warm
No,
out?
I don't
Sure
at
is.
all. I don't.
You didn't have any like fun special like prison lane?
Did anyone
Ooh.
The only thing I got in prison was beat up. So.
That's not very fun.
Oh, yeah.
That's not very fun.
Brandon goes like, ooh. Keeps walking out of the group.
I go in right.
There's no ahead of the group with
Did
me.
you take that book with
Yeah,
you?
just
or
take
did
up
you
longer
copy
stuff.
it?
My spellbook? No, I took the physical
Yeah, you
copy.
straight up
I have to copy it later because it takes 2 hours.
He did steal a book from the library.
I don't know that,
You don't
yet,
know
right? Okay.
And the clock at one point.
I don't know that.
Don't
Cool.
worry.
So you head. You lead them towards the kennel.
Do you guys want lunch?
I've got some uncooked noodles in my bag.
That
Could I
sounds
please-
delicious.
Sure.
I hear there's a pretty good wing stop near here. Actually, right across the street from the burned down noodle store, there's a wing stop if you want to.
He's owned by his brother.
Do you wanna go half seas on some wings?
Sure. Let's go have this on some wings.
All right, you guys go fucking have these on some wings. So you go over. You go over to the wing shop. You go over to the wing shop. It is Hector's Wing Stop. Is the name of
Hector's
this
Wing
place.
Stop.
We've been here before.
The wing shop.
We've
Yeah.
seen it before.
The wing
And
shop
you
is
go over, and Hector, this man, this Carthian man, comes up to you. Carth is just a continent to the east. He comes up to you and to the window, and he says, "What can I do for you guys?"
We would like some wings.
Of course. What sauce? What sauce do you want? These wings? You want hot sauce? You want barbecue sauce? Boom boom. You want boom boom sauce? Okay, we can get boom boom sauce for you too. I have dragon's breath sauce. I have this one. This one's actually a fun new sauce that's in. I'm saying sauce a lot. This is a fun new sauce. Is basilisk's glance sauce.
Oh, that sounds fun.
That
It's so
sounds-
hot it'll make you stand still for like a long time, I
We
guess.
can't afford that, you guys. No one's allowed to have that.
How much is the dragon's breath sauce?
Dragon. Well, they're all the same price. It's just how many wings you want.
I want a wing.
Just one? they go and I
How
don't
big
sell
are they?
like that.
Yeah, what animal wings are these
What
wings?
sort of wings are they?
Oh, they're chicken.
They're chicken
Chicken.
wings.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever
How
had
much for a plate?
For a plate, well, I mean, they come in baskets, 5. Sorry, I mean, listen, I'm having a bit of a rough time of it. My brother Nolzor recently died in a fire, and he points across the street to what looks like used to be like a ramen stand that is burned to the ground. We were rivals, but I loved him.
Ain't that just?
Could I just have a thing of dragon's breath sauce, just a sauce?
Yeah, sure, I guess. Oh, you have to pay for it. The wings, it's five wings, for a silver, 12 wings for 2 silver.
Oh,
I'll
I
take
thought it
12.
was way more expensive.
I mean, it's wings.
I'll take the lower amount.
Cool. Boom boom sauce, dragon sauce.
Have you got hot sauce?
Just the regular hot sauce?
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
He
Alright.
just sits there.
Oliver
You
eats
look
as
a
if he
little
hasn't eaten
sad.
in days.
Well, my brother died. Me, Nolzor, and Hector. I may have been the favorite, but he was still my brother.
He made a damn good noodle.
Do you eat his noodles?
Yeah, we've been in
recognize
the
you.
city for a while.
I feel like I recognize. Yeah, no, you guys were here. The night this thing burned down.
Cool. Well, we have somewhere to go, so
Thank you for the wings.
Thanks
Of course.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Very
thanks
good.
for your
I'm
patience.
really sorry for your loss.
It happens. I mean, I know you were one of Nolzor's regulars, so.
I know, I miss him too.
Turns out he was a racist at the end, so. He
Yeah.
hated Drow and Duragar. It was crazy. I never even knew.
So you weren't raised that way?
We were raised separately. I mean, he's named Nolzor and I'm named Hector, so like we were definitely
You're
named by
brothers.
other people. Yeah, but we were raised separately, and then we like reunited when we came to Renarsia, sort of to follow the the Renarsian dream, that happens. I mean, if you ever get the chance to go over to Karth, we got separated at birth because of the constant forewarning states. Born in the same place, but then one of the other states came in, took over while so one of us got taken away, one of us stayed there. We were raised in separate countries altogether, and it happens.
Where were you raised?
I haven't named the states of Karth yet, so that one, the one, not the one. Well, there's the one that's famous. Everybody knows is the one they worship Saint Cuthbert. Not that one. Not that one. I'm the one
It's
who.
not Cuthbert.
No, not the Cuthbertian
Just curious.
fanatics.
No reason.
He does sort of like pull his jacket to the side, and it shows off. He has a symbol on his shirt with like a red. It's a shield with red and blue, and in the center of it are 2 cross katanas. And you recognize that. I mean, I know I haven't fucking named these countries yet because I didn't expect you to have to deal with them yet, but you all recognize, like, Carthian colors. Everybody knows Carthian colors. Like, when people come dressed in like those colors with those insignias, you know which Carthian like army they are from. And he's like, yeah, that's where I'm from. I mean, I don't have too much of a connection to it, but I like to bear the coat of arms.
That's very
I feel like
nice.
it's my duty.
That's very nice. I'm happy for you. Anyway, we should head out. Here's
Sure.
a slide of silver, a little tip.
Thanks so much.
Few troubles.
Have a nice day with whatever your endeavors you are pursuing.
I'm you.
Cool. So you head your way into the kennel from here, and Oliver leads you down some side streets until you come to what looks like a salon, like a hair salon. You can see that there are chairs on the inside with 2 people sitting in the chairs, and one individual, tall, lanky individual with fiery red hair that sort of sticks up and is styled to the side. Clearly died.
Does the hair salon have a name?
There's no signage. You can just tell through the windows that it is a hair salon. It's not huge. It's not a huge place, but it is a salon. This is Rolf's salon.
Well, here we are.
What's everyone's passive perception? Can you just tell me that?
12.
12.
What is passive perception?
It's 10 plus your perception modifier.
10 plus wisdom?
Percent, but it is your wisdom perception.
12.
So if you're proficient, you add that as well.
Okay.
Oh, wait, really?
Yes.
Oh, it's 10
14.
plus 16.
15 now.
Wait. 16.
Cool. Thanks. This is his place. You haven't been here for a couple weeks, but this is certainly his place.
We go in.
So you step in, and as you step in, you see this high elf sort of cutting the hair of somebody with these large shears. And as the door opens, he says, "Be with you in a minute." And he turns. Then one of the other, like this big, beefy human man who's sort of leaning up against the wall, says, "Boy, boss, we want to check this out." And the elf who you assume is Rolf turns around and looks at you, makes eye contact with you, says, "You think you can just show your face in my shop whenever you think, Oliver Dumont?"
Well, I'm not here to see you. I'm here to see Rolf.
I am Rolf.
Oh, hello, Rolf.
The whole world glitches.
Hello. Rolf, actually, let me.
Lift, please.
Do you remember me?
You look familiar.
We met one night in the
Would
kennel.
this jog your memory at all?
He sort of gestures to the guy who warned him, who walks up, shoulders past you, like, and holds his hand out. Walks it back, hands it to Rolf, inspects it. So you're from Oslo, eh? Then he throws it back to you.
Sort of. I've got a favour to ask you.
Yeah.
Under the grace of Oslo, of course, who is your good business partner. Can we talk in private somewhere?
I'm a little conflicted about that at the moment. As, sorry. You're not the only ones I know here. This piece of dragon shite
Yep.
fucked me in a deal.
I
Fuck
should
you,
have
it
stayed
wasn't,
outside.
it wasn't my fault.
It's not your fault that you turned chicken.
It's
and
not
left
my fault
men
that
to
your
die.
men died.
Oh, it's...
Your men weren't properly trained.
Listen here.
You put them under my command knowing full well they couldn't. They wouldn't
Those
be
men
able to pull that off.
Had been on many, many raids.
Well, then
of a
tell me
similar
why they
variety.
died, Rolf.
It's because you left.
Right. So you trusted me to take care of your men. We had met, what, 3 times before that? Look, I'm sorry. But I'm not here about that. I'm here with them, and it's a separate issue. Can we just leave our past behind?
I'm afraid in my business I can't just let things go so easily. So you got a choice here. You want my help. You have to pay dearly for it. I know your friends are Oslo, and that's the only reason I haven't killed you all on the spot.
Hold on a second. My understanding is you work in the underground. The literal underground. Earthquakes been causing lots of problems underground. We wound up underground at one point. Well, if I said you helping us, might put an end to the earthquakes.
That'd be quite appealing, but one of you has cost me the lives of 10 of my best, strongest men. A huge, very important shipment of goods, and forced me to go into hiding for 2 weeks. So I'd say you're at a deficit at the moment.
Who was that?
Wait, who was
kicked
that?
out. You're kicked out.
What, of the group? Or of the room?
The group.
What? Do not leave this room. If I see any of you leave this room or reach for your weapons, I'll set my hounds on you.
I have a second
And
question.
as he says this, you hear like a large, low growl, and sort of from like a back area under one of the tables, the biggest dog you have ever seen stands up. It's like rideable.
Is there a guy getting his haircut this whole time?
It's a female. She seems like a female, like a thug, and he was like sort of cutting her hair down, but she has since like stood up and she has her
Okay.
hand on.
There's
the
that like
wax
some
and something.
terrified
No.
patron.
Some
Okay.
citizen.
He was giving his own people.
Alright.
Gotta keep on looking.
Is this why they call you the groomers?
Well, we love to keep ourselves looking nice.
You do. You look very nice.
Pretty funny.
Thank you.
So what can we do to appease you? get you there.
You should have fucking stayed outside.
You should have stayed outside,
Yeah, well, I'm here now, so we'll deal with that.
and you won't leave. What do you need from me?
You don't let
We're
us
looking
leave.
for a map. But we believe you may be in possession of.
The maps of the undergrounds. Wurthanc.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
It's
give
a
it to
trifle.
you. What?
It's a trifle. I'll give that to you. But I don't deal in favors. I've got a debt to exact from you. He reaches into his pocket and he pulls up a letter. This is a letter I would like to be delivered to Hero. It's already addressed. You're gonna go up there, go up north, cross the winding step, and take it with you. All right? And Brandon sort of pipes in and says, "We're actually headed. If you still intend on taking my job, we'd be heading in that direction either way." Says, "Oh, look at that. Ain't that fucking convenient, eh? The other thing I need is a finger of your choice."
What? No.
What about give him the finger?
I'm not going to give him my finger.
But just give him your finger.
It would look kind of cool, actually. Look, I'm not going to give you my finger. So you're going to have to come up with something else. And it can't be a body part, Rolf.
I don't think I want any of your body parts.
You just asked for one.
No. I'm just trying to handicap you. I need to prove a point here. If I just let people go on fucking me and I don't do anything about it, then what do I look like?
Pinky.
Noble Folly's never
Take
got.
the pinky.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
easy, and he takes his shears and snips it off. Like it takes a minute. He like, and
I go.
Oliver passes out, probably.
yeah, you're gone. You're gone. He goes,
How much damage is that? Like, all of it?
It's non-lethal, so don't worry about it. But your pinky is off, is bleeding heavily. He snaps his fingers, and the woman who is getting her hair done picks up a cloth and sort of holds it onto your.
Can I attempt to do a better job than her running a medicine check?
As you approach, the other one grabs, like he puts his hand on his axe. Rolf says, "I gotta be honest, I didn't expect that to work. I thought he put up more of a fight, and I had many other options, but I guess
We really want the map.
Hmm?
We really need the map.
and the map you'll have. Not only that, but now that he's asleep, let's talk shop. Our magic items. You want some?"
Yes!
Yeah, what have you got?
What do you got?
Right, Harkin, and the woman, you notice
I'm
that.
sorry about him also. I didn't know.
Oh, he's a half-assed fucker, but he's from a rich family, and he's been helping out me competition. So, you know,
Yeah, we just.
I just thought I'd scare the
We didn't know you had
shit
faith.
into him, and then he wouldn't mess with me ever again.
I'm sorry for
Listen,
my
I'm not a bad guy. He says while picking up the finger he took off with hair-cutting shears, and placing it on the counter. I just gotta get my business done. Harkin! And the woman turns around. You notice that she is, in fact, Harkin One-Eye, who Robert Carnavaggio talked to you about. And she goes, "Yeah, I got some stuff. Got a deck of illusions, scroll of fireball, and a master key.
Master Key, what does that do?
Master key, it's gonna... It doesn't belong to any particular... Yeah, it doesn't belong to any particular lock, but it has a chance to open any lock in existence. One time.
One time?
One time.
How much is that?
150 gold. It's a powerful enchantment.
I also got a lock picking set, so maybe not. Thank you though.
How
They're
much
very
is this?
pretty.
How much is the scroll?
200. Fireball. Very powerful spell, and you poncy ass wizard could probably use it.
What was the last object?
Deck of illusions. Now, this is a powerful artifact. You take a card, and she pulls it out of her pocket. It's this nice ornate deck. It's just like, you take a card, you throw it down. I'm not going to demonstrate, don't want to damage the goods. And it creates a hyper-realistic illusion of a terrifying creature. Good for getting out of a tight spot. Very interesting.
How much was that?
5,000 gold piece.
Fuck you.
Everybody keeps trying to sell us stuff that we don't have enough.
Technically, you have enough money. The two of you have enough money for a lot of this stuff. You have 600 gold.
We don't know that. Nobody knows
I know.
that.
Well, less than that. Oh, between the two of us, yeah.
You got
Well, because
because of your diamond.
we're
You got
diamonds.
Right,
the
right.
300
right,
the 300 gold piece worth.
I forgot about this.
So, I'm
I'm
sorry.
alright.
I don't think I can
That's
have any of that.
And Rolf is putting the finger in a jar and sort of
Is he
like
pickling
placing it. No, he's like put it up on a little prong so it's standing straight up. And
It's
put
not
it-
like floating in like barber
no
fluid.
Like a
not
ammonia.
barbasol.
You
It's
know,
in, like,
some
barbasol.
formaldehyde for that.
It's the grosser it looks, the more of a message it sends. I think it's my first time doing something like this. It's a bit of a rush. I'll have to do it more often.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it gets old after a little while.
Right. Pleasure doing business with you. Your weapons are outside, so and you realize that your weapons, your short sword, shield, your rapier, dagger, your staff, all are not on your person anymore.
What about me?
He didn't take yours.
Okay.
He didn't have enough time. And they are all lying on the ground outside on the street.
Go get him right now.
Okay, well.
Pleasure doing business.
So, just to
He
clarify.
shuts the door behind.
Oliver.
And then, yeah, a moment later, the door opens and Oliver rolls out.
From outside, I'm just gonna be like, oh! And be like, just to clarify, we deliver this letter and then you'll give us a map.
Oh, yeah, the map. I was supposed to give you that, or no, I've got it. Give me a second. And he goes back inside. I want everybody to make a perception check. Oliver, you're just waking up, so not you.
Natural 20.
Nice. You see a figure sort of
21.
peeking out from behind a wall, duck back, and you see the glimpse of a blue tri-corner hat as he does so.
21. I also saw
You
that.
also saw that.
I got a 24.
Hey, it's the bloke from Resort.
I think it's time that we talk to it. We just can't let it go.
I'm very charming, so I suggest that
I-
it's me.
Sure. One company.
Yeah.
I dump all of that. I have an idea. If I go around the other side of the alley, he tries to run away.
Yeah.
Let me,
I keep Oliver.
let me do it. I can get
I'm
that
gonna
quick.
cast Healing Word on him.
Yeah, you stop. You cast healing word. You sort of just whisper a body limerick into his ear, and the bleeding does stop. Use your right or left or right, Pinky. Cool.
He's left.
I get that fixed.
So,
I don't know.
so we're just waiting out here for Rolf.
It's bad lads.
Yeah.
Okay, Teppa, you wait here.
No, I'll go around the other side.
No. You're gonna wait for Rolf because he knows you. He's gonna get the map.
Hey,
too.
Everyone, I'm real sorry about that. I really kind of misjudged the situation.
You should have stayed outside.
I know I should have stayed outside.
You don't need to apologize. You
Or
kind
you
of
could
got
have even,
worst-
told us anything about him.
the you got the worst end of the deal.
That's not.
That's also really cool though, I'm gonna say.
Thanks, Willis.
It's gross.
Anyway, okay,
Anyway,
we've
sorry.
got something to do.
Sorry, yes.
So, whoever's going to the other side, go. Somebody wait here for Rolf.
No.
I will go. I'll go.
I go around to the other side. I click my heels and go around to the other side at insane speeds.
I'm gonna walk with Wallace.
Somebody's gotta get the map.
Brandon, you want to get them out?
All right. I'm a little. He's very pale. He's like, I've never seen a man's finger get cut off by a haircut and shears, so I'm not really comfortable with talking to him again. But I suppose I'll do it.
Great, thank
Got
you.
on my keeper.
Okay. I'm gonna go over to the alley. I'm gonna go with Wallace.
I could also wait with him if I alter self.
No.
He knows it's
Okay.
you are.
I'll
You'll
just
have
go
four
with
Is anybody in the alley?
You see an owl
I want to catch the owl.
perched on like sort of outpost.
I want to turn it down. I'm gonna say, if you're gonna follow us, you can at least talk to us like a man.
The owl just
Oh wait.
and then just sort of disappears.
In my running around, do I encounter anyone?
You do brush past an individual, a human man with just sort of black leather on, no blue coat, no tricorner hat, but sort of a mask pulled across his face. And he like nudges into you, gives you a look, and keeps walking.
Alright. Continue around to the alley.
Where do we go?
I guess I'm waiting there.
Can I see them like down the alley?
Yeah.
And look like
You see as the
confused?
elf disappears.
Where'd he go?
What happened?
The owl didn't
It
fly
disappeared.
away
Oh,
it
it physically
disappeared.
disappeared.
as a familiar does.
Right. No can do.
Alright, well, that's a wash.
Guess what? We're waiting for these maps.
Yeah.
You hear Brandon go, "Holy shite!" You just go,
Clank, clank, clank.
look around and you see that the window is opened and the papers are just floating through as Rolf is like leaning through the window, just gesticulating. You can see the faint outlines of what looks like a ethereal hand taking them over to Brandon, who's just like, "Thank you, no problem. If you ever want to get that mop of yours cleaned up, we've got quite a nice salon here." He's like, "I'm good, I'm quite, and he just turns around and walks over in your direction. Maps.
I'm leaving.
And the window slides closed.
Alright, well,
go back somewhere better and then read these
sure.
Sure, yeah. What time is it?
4:35-ish.
Perhaps we could find a tavern or something to sit down in and read these maps, get a little bit of rest before we head up north. I
Sounds
should
good to me.
also mention that Irina did also want us to investigate the bandits who are up north, so we could really kill 3 birds with
We
one stone.
have to fix the earthquakes before we go anywhere else.
I don't think
Also,
that's how this
I
I
works.
thought we
have
had
a
to go
work
somewhere else to-
contract in this
I think
city.
we have to go somewhere else and then
Oh, well,
come
that's
back
gonna be
and fix the
that's
other.
gonna be a
don't
I
need
got
Ralph's
the
permission.
impression we were supposed to fix this like immediately, and that thing we could just sort of do whenever we wanted to do.
Oh,
Brandon's right.
Brandon's the voice of God, so.
Well, in either case, we definitely have to get out of here, and we definitely have to get a rest before we
Agreed.
start on whatever. Because I've got a feeling that whatever's causing these earthquakes is
Tough.
tough.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I already told you.
So you're walking and talking, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
You, as you're doing so, you pass by a house with a red, looks like sort of ship wheel on it, and the door opens. You see a familiar elven woman with auburn hair, now not dressed in a beautiful red gown, but in sort of leathers, brown leathers, with daggers on either side, step out and says, "So you ended up taking a deal with the fool again? Oh, honey."
Who's that?
Oh yeah, you weren't that.
Oh yeah.
You're
This
making
is-
company with a lion right now.
Yes. Kira, may I introduce you. This is Irina.
Oh, I've seen her before.
Hello?
Just wanted to say hi.
Are you off to somewhere?
Oh no, I mean I own this place.
Ah.
You remember that the brothels aren't like marked, but
Right.
they have the red wheel. Like they're marked by the red ship's wheel because they're the red wheel brothels. Says, "No, I've got someone interesting upstairs, getting some information out of him as we speak, and you hear sort of like a muffled whip noise. Just saw you over at old Dirty Rolf's and thought I'd say hi and just let you know that don't make any stupid moves. Got eyes everywhere." And the door closes.
Do you think it's worth asking her about the man?
yeah.
The door reopens. "That was a really cool exit. You didn't have to ruin it like that for me."
Irina, sorry. We actually have a question for you.
No, come on in.
Oh, thank you.
And you enter. So it's a brothel. There's like there's smoke sort of like billowing from hookahs all over the place. And it's decorated in a similar way to the Lamplight, but more cushy with more like places to sit. And there's like drunk drunk men in like ornate clothing, clearly from the fiscal plazas, like standing, laying down, like smoking hookahs and drinking with scantily clad women and men around them.
Is just a semantic question. In this universe, is prostitution legal?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not. Yeah,
Okay.
this particular brothel, but yeah,
Okay.
depends on the place. But in Carleone, there's no law against it. There's a lot of regulations, and this one definitely doesn't go by a lot of those regulations,
Yeah.
but it's not
Are
illegal.
there illegal things happening in the
Probably.
Not that you can see.
Irina,
But she says, not to the common room, I've got my own. And she takes you through a door, and it's sort of like an office. It's surprisingly just bare and effective. Like there's no like gaudy additions to the room. It's just sort of a wooden room. I don't have enough chairs for all of you, but I'll sit. And she sits.
I'll stand.
what's the hell can stand?
Good. I mean, you will all have to. I have one chair. What do you
So,
need?
there's a bloke been following us.
Yeah.
He's got sort of a funny hat, tri-corner.
Oh,
very
the
similar.
blue with the
He
feathers.
was there last
You've
night.
seen it.
Yeah, he came into the lamp's light for the first time that any of us have ever seen him last night.
Do you know anything about him?
Seems like a hard type.
He has an owl. A familiar of sorts, isn't
I didn't get the magical sense off of him.
Neither did I.
Interesting. I'm afraid I don't know much about him.
It's alright.
And if he wasn't in Rolf's salon, he's definitely, I mean, judging by that shaved head, he definitely doesn't belong to the groomers. Rolf would have a connection. I can't imagine he's a member of Brutus's Brutes, otherwise we would have seen him and heard him at night before now.
Right.
My guess is he's new to town. He's following you.
He's been 3 separate places we've been.
One time,
My-
visibly watching
my
us.
bar,
All
yes.
the time.
He's been at the Lamps Light.
Yes.
He's been at
The archives.
the archives.
Uh-huh.
And he was sort of peeking out at us while we were at Rolf's. So I'm a little confused and concerned. And also his hat is just so funny looking, and I just want, it's such a weird hat.
I agree. It's not quite in the style of the West Pride, so my guess is he's definitely not from around here. You don't see a lot of dark blue, especially in the summertime here.
Aren't you wearing a hat?
And it looks fucking amazing.
But what is it? Also a
Stupid.
tri-corner hat?
I'm wearing
No.
Nope, it's a bowler hat
Oh.
covered with bandana.
It's a bowler hat that is covered with a bandana.
I like that a lot.
That's fine.
I just needed to know what hats were compared.
No, my hat is bowler and awesome and amazing, and it looks great on me. And my face is definitely made for hats. And
I'm not insulting you.
No,
asking
I'm just giving you the facts.
Thank
And
you.
his hat
Thank
is stupid.
Alright, well, this conversation doesn't need to be happening in my office.
Right, thank you.
Or in
Irina.
game.
I'll
for
keep
that
an
matter.
eye out if I have any information,
That's
you
what I
know,
was
I'll
gonna
let you
ask.
know.
Thank you.
As long as you don't do anything to, sully our relationship, I should say. Is she on the level?
Excuse me?
Is she on the level?
The level of what?
Is she about to report us to the light?
I hope not.
Look, she's been running around with 3 or 4 3 criminals for a while now.
I think,
I'm not worried. Oh, wait, hang on. 2 criminals.
Math isn't as strong as
It's not,
He's a
it does
visual
not have high int.
He's a visual learner.
Tapper is a dumb jock.
I mean, she hasn't filled an incident report while we were here, so.
Right.
Kira, is it?
Yes.
She sort of stands up and like gets very uncomfortably close to your face and says, "You wouldn't want Captain Sheena to know that we've met, now would we?"
No, we wouldn't.
That's what I thought. And she grabs you by the face and kisses you on the forehead and leaves a lipstick mark on your forehead. Says, "Now be on your way."
thank you.
Thank you, Arena.
She's
Lena,
lovely, isn't
as
she?
always.
I don't like her.
Oh.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, but not many
Finally getting
incidents.
some action, Kira.
Thank you, Bob.
as you walk out,
Bye!
as you walk out, you
I
hear
thought we
her
were
under
running
her
out.
breath. She says, Such a sweaty man. He has an ass that will not quit. And yes, you exit the place.
And it's not sweat.
Slam.
Where are we off to now? We have to read these maps, don't we?
Yeah, let's just go somewhere. A nice tavern. What about the Shimmering Scale?
Wow.
Let's go.
It's
Collapse.
broken. I'm sorry.
I'm sure I know.
Can we just like see
Well,
a
a nice
tavern on the
quiet.
street?
You know that Collins Bolodrome has a nice quiet room.
So you guys want to go bowling again?
I haven't been the first time, so yes.
Yeah, I don't. But
Have you never been bowling?
I just learned. I'll teach you.
With the pins in the ball and the knocking.
Brandon says, "I haven't been bowling in so many years. Let's do
Let's
it."
go, let's go.
All right. And as you
All
head
right, I'll
off
teach you.
to
I just
Collins
learned.
Bolodrome to examine these maps and finally solve the mystery of why you're here and what is going on, that is where we're gonna end this week's session. Cool. That could have been a fight, you guys. That we built a map for that. For Rolf Stallone. That could have gotten hairy a little quick, but you just sort of gave him your finger.
Yeah.
It was gonna be cool. He was an arcane trickster, and you would have started your the fight without any weapons because he was mage handing your weapons off of you. The whole
Not a
time.
problem.
For you, yeah. But you narrowly avoided what could have been a pretty difficult fight right there. So cool. So
I hate everyone in this town.
that's exciting. We'll be uploading
Yes.
soon. We'll be bowling soon.
Yeah, she
hopefully.
really does not like me, and it's really rude.
Oh, I think it's so funny. Tabra loves it.
As a symbol of authority, I will do everything in my power to undermine you.
That's
Incredible.
so great.
Cool.
Heroes
So,
as well.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for playing. Had a great time. I'm sweating so hard. We need to figure that out.
Really hot in here.
It's very hot in this room. We suffer for ourselves and for you. Thank you for partying in the dungeon. This has been Dungeon Party. See you later.
Woo!
Yay!